Tuesday night at beautiful downtown Bramall Lane for the Blades against Millwall. Tuesdays have been successful for the Blades. 6 wins, 2 draws and 1 defeat in the last 9 league games at beautiful downtown Bramall Lane. So for this 10th game against Millwall, everyone in optimistic mood. Both sides locked on points in the middle of the championship table, and 𝐍𝐸 opening for 2 changes. Opted for Conor Hourihane giving his first Bramall Lane start in place of Oliver Norwood, and the hero from Saturday, 𝐍𝐸𝐫𝐝𝐸, coming in for 𝐸𝐸𝐸. The game started pretty slow. Millwall 3 up front seemed to catch us out a little bit. An early warning shot as Robin Olsen missed an early shot which went in the back of the net, but thankfully the whistle had already gone, so the goal didn't count. But the warning signs, 10 minutes, pretty odd. Jed Wallace, cross-come shot. Olsen could have done better, could have ended up in the cop. Either way, first viewing looked very disappointing from Olsen, and it was Blades 0, Millwall 1, and very frustrating. The game didn't really get going for the Blades. Millwall looked more threatening, and it seemed slow, lethargic. The crowd were getting on the players' backs, telling them to get on with it, and you could vocally hear the fans getting frustrated at the performance. Then 𝐍𝐸𝐫𝐝𝐸 hooked Conor Hourihane off. Didn't do much. The fans had prayed for him to play. He was just so ineffective. He was hooked off and 𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸 came on. 𝐍𝐸𝐫𝐸 had a chance, clean to run goal, took for a deflection. And then on half-time, a foul on John Fleck. Was it a penalty? Was it not? Don't know, but Billy Sharp, after his aberration at Hull, got up to tuck away his 5th of the season. A well-taken penalty right on the stroke of half-time. Blades won, rather fortuitously. Millwall 1. Could the Blades go on and get another valuable 3 points? We'll see.
Hiya, so on to the second half of what's been a frustrating night of football. I thought that we were really lacklustre in the first half. Nothing really seemed like it was going to come off. We didn't really know what we were doing. It was all sort of lacking any energy and direction. So when we come out in the second half, I thought that we had got that energy. We'd got a couple of early chances. We'd got 𝐍𝐸𝐫𝐝𝐸 in. We'd got 𝐍𝐸𝐫𝐝𝐸 in. Obviously neither of them came off. Then everything went a little bit haywire from there. 𝐍𝐸𝐫𝐝𝐸 got his second yellow. To be honest, I couldn't see from where I was on the cop exactly what happened, and I've heard sort of different things, so I'm going to, reserve opinion on that. But either way, we were down to 10 men. We'd got Bash come on for Bogle, and I think we just sort of slowed down a bit whilst we were, reshaping. We were a bit more stretched and figuring out what we were doing. But we did come back with like a bit of fight. Like we weren't packing it in there. We did have another couple of chances. Ozzy was running all over the place, getting the ball down for Sharp, and I thought that we were, unlucky to not have something come from that. But Christ, it was just, I didn't know what was going on with the refereeing, just ridiculously inconsistent. We then got a foul on Fleck, which didn't get any card at all. And I don't think anybody knew what was going on. Players didn't know what was going on. I didn't know what was going on. I don't think the referee knew where he were. Just ridiculously frustrating. We then got Norwood on, which I was happy about. I was one of the people who was calling for Hourihane to come in, but then obviously we've seen him maybe not do so well tonight, and then we've got Norwood come on for 𝐍𝐸𝐫𝐝𝐸. So that was decent to get him back, but obviously it was a bit too late for it to make any difference to where we were. I thought it's just going to be the hardest fought point and most frustrating point that we're going to get. And then to top it all off, injury time loss. We've come away with absolutely nothing. And except more questions about where we're going to go from here. So we shall wait and see what 𝐍𝐸𝐫𝐝𝐸's got in store for us. But yeah, very frustrating night. Not any or many positives to take from it as far as I can see. But such is life as a Blade. So we go again.
Now it's our time to break down these individual performances and award some player ratings. Starting in goal today, Robin Olsen gets a 5. Probably at fault for that first goal. Wasn't really a shot, more of a misplaced cross from Millwall's player there. Wallace and just didn't do anything with it. Olsen's tall, he's big, he's an international capped goalkeeper for Sweden, and he just hasn't looked comfortable. Did make some good saves in the second half, definitely kept us in that game until the death, but needs to be better for Olsen. He has not looked comfortable yet this year. Moving on to our back four. At right back today, we had Bogle starting again for the injured Baldock. Flashes going forward of what he can be capable of, but we still need a better performance from him defensively, and it was unfortunate that he got injured today, so a lot of question marks in that position going forward for the rest of the season, and definitely for this upcoming match. Moving on to John Egan, gets a 6 today. Solid, normal, typical Egan performance, exactly what we expect from him. Didn't really put a foot wrong, so 6 today. Ben Davies, also a very good performance at the back, despite the 2 goals going in. Nothing that either him or Egan can do about it, but Ben Davies gets a 6.5 from me because we definitely saw more of that progressive forward passing that Ben Davies is capable of, and I think he's finally getting comfortable in that role of the back four for Sheffield United. Moving on to left back, Enda Stevens, 4.5, a subpar game from him. Had a very, very good tackle in the second half at the end to keep the game at 1-1, but still not the Enda Stevens that we know he can be. Definitely some questions on whether Norrington Davies should get another shout at left back moving forward. In the midfield today, Slav changed it up a bit, went with Connor Howerhan to start alongside Fleck, and quickly regretted that decision. Howerhan today, from me, gets a 2. He was invisible for the short time that he was on the field, and it was definitely a deserved early hook from the manager. Fleck, alongside him, gets a 5. Did a good job to win the penalty, but that was about it. It's still not the Fleck performances that we've seen from the past. He's still slightly slow, one step behind the pace of play. Just almost there, but not quite there to what he needs to be and what he can be for us. In our attacking midfield, we went with, again, that trio of Morgan Gibbs-White, swapped it up with David McGoldrick, and then Osborne on the left side. Starting with Morgan Gibbs-White, 4.5 today. He was effective, still is always a threat moving forward, but you cannot dive at all when you have a yellow card. You can anticipate contact, you can expect to be hit inside the box, but when you don't feel that contact, do not go to the ground, especially the way he did. You give the entire decision, the entire momentum of the game over to the referee, and you cannot be doing that. He is too smart of a player, Morgan Gibbs-White, to be doing that kind of a thing. So 4.5 today. Didzy, after the last game's performance, obviously he needed to start this game, and it should have been a great game for Didzy. He had our best chances in the first half, in the second half. How he misses that one in the second, I don't know, but it's a 4 today. You need to be better, Didzy. You had your chance to start after a brilliant performance coming on as a sub. I don't know if you start another game. Osborne today on the left, a 5. Industrious as ever. We're going to keep calling him that. He puts in the work. He puts in the effort. He's running around everywhere, but there's no flair. There's no creativity from Ben Osborne, and we need that, especially when other players in the midfield aren't clicking on a given day. Osborne needs to be able to step it up on that left-hand side and provide us another creative outlet for our attacking possession. And then finally, Billy Sharp did great with the penalty today, gets a 5 from me, but didn't really look involved in the rest of the game. Maybe a change at the weekend. Maybe give Mousse a run out there. McBurney, somebody else, just to give Sharp a rest. See if we can get some different links between the midfield and our solo striker. But again, great to convert the penalty. You know he's going to make those and take those every single time. On to our substitutes today. Iliman Ndiaye came on in the first half and was definitely our best player once he came on the field. He was fresh. He was the spark that we needed creatively, really changed and led to some momentum to get that penalty and that first goal in the first half. And then out the gates of the second half, he was really running the show. And unfortunate that once we went down to 10 men, we just lost all that momentum. at the same time then that we go down 10 men, we also have to make an injury substitution. Brought Bash on. Bash today gets a 6 from me. He was solid. He's now played that right back position a couple times, and if Bogle and Baldock are both injured, I feel perfectly comfortable with Basham out there as a defensive option at right back. I'm not going to expect him to make too many runs and get involved in too many offensive plays, but I know he can hold that spot. And yeah, a solid performance from Bash as we expect. And then the final sub was Ollie Norwood, 4.5. Yeah, the reason Howerhand got a shout today was because Norwood's not been great from set pieces. And we saw it again. A couple corners. One, corner that looked good but was called off for a foul. So it's just tough for him. And now Howerhand having a poor performance, I don't know what the answer is in midfield. We'll have to see going forward what some of our other folks here on this video have to say. But Norwood needs to be better from set pieces if that's what his role is going to be. And then finally, the manager, 𝐍𝐸𝐵𝐍, today gets a 5.5. He made the correct decision in the first half, bringing off Howerhand, putting on 𝐍𝐸𝐫𝐍. It worked. We got a goal. We had the momentum in our favor. Obviously, that momentum was taken away from us and not really something he could control. But then subbing on Norwood definitely felt like we're playing for the draw. We're playing for the 1 point, and we didn't get that in the end. So 5.5 from Slav. Hopefully we can get better. Let's hear some positive and negatives and on from here.
Hello, it's Jono, and tonight I'm looking at the positives and negatives after a very disappointing result v Millwall. If I try and start with a positive, I didn't think we deserved to lose the game. I think we're the victims of a smash and grab tonight. I thought even with 10 men, we were the team that were on the front foot and trying to create chances and attack. I thought Millwall were quite negative and defensive and didn't really create a lot of chances. That then leads us really onto the negatives. Yet again, we've conceded 2 goals without a team really troubling us. I felt throughout the game, and especially in the first half, whenever Millwall seemed to cross a halfway line, I was scared. I felt that they seemed to have extra bodies, and without actually creating much, they were piling forward, and I just felt worried whenever they passed the halfway line. Talking of the first half, the first 38 minutes or so, 40 minutes, I thought we were awful. We didn't seem to be able to string passes together, and it wasn't working. I felt it was good to see Slav make an early change and bring 𝐍𝐸𝐫𝐍 on for Hourihane. I don't want to sit here and hang Hourihane out to dry. I've wanted to see more of Hourihane, and I don't think he was the issue as such. I think as a team it wasn't working, but it was good to see Slav make that change, and I felt once he did, for the end of the first half and starting with the second half, I felt we made a difference, and I think a goal was coming, probably second goal. However, unfortunately, Morgan Gibbs-White, from where I was sitting and from seeing, I've only seen one replay, but I think he was looking for a foul and probably rightfully got a second yellow card. And I think ultimately that has cost us tonight. I think if we'd have firstly kept 11 players on for the rest of the game, and also started as well as we finished the first half, if we'd have kept that throughout the game, I think the outcome could have been a different story. I can't finish the negatives without highlighting the referee as well. Donahue, he was atrocious, and he actually made Keith Stroud look quite good. So, very disappointing night. One that we want to move on and forget. I will now hand you over to Pommpey to look at where do we go from here.
Yeah, thanks for that. Okay, so where do we go from here? Well, after a game such as that, which is a very disappointing way to kind of capitulate what was a bit of a spirited fight throughout the second half, even with 10 men, to go down in such a way, it's very difficult to say, where do we go from here? But if we're going to face Barnsley on Sunday, or a struggling side, and we're not going to fall to the same old problems, we've got to really sharpen up our act, not be closed down quite so easy as we were in the first half. There was vast areas in the centre of the park which were empty, in the first half, which Hurrihan and Fleck failed to sort of occupy and bring the ball up the pitch. So we've got to really dominate. We've got to really stop being the second best to the ball. Fleck in particular, dispossessed about 4 or 5 times in the first half and really not on his full John Fleck performance. And it's key players like that we really rely on to put in these performances, if we are going to go ahead and get 3 points on Sunday. The green shoots were there though. I mean, the thing is, I didn't see a great evidence of wilder ball, whether or not that was because Norwood was not on the pitch at the beginning. But certainly Hurrihan didn't give us much, which is why he was substituted on 37 minutes. We did see a bit more Slav ball, I suppose, which is a little bit more encouraging. And that's probably something that we need to be considering where he's moving now. I mean, certainly towards the transfer window coming up in 2 months' time, he's going to have to start making decisions about which players he wants to keep, which players he wants to loan out, and which players he wants to bring in on loan to develop this. I mean, a lot of Fulham fans did say when we signed him, you've got to give this guy time to sort of settle the side. And because he didn't have a pre-season, he's not had the chance to do that. So we are very gently moving forward, but nothing. I mean, tonight was the evidence that we have got the propensity to move backwards as well. Hence, coming away from it with nothing. The movement of space, like I say, was abject at times. In the early parts of the game, we did pick it up in the second half against 10 men, but and for great periods we looked like we were going to score. Didsey boots it over the bar from. I think he was over the line when he kicked it over the bar. I don't know. I mean, what the hell happened there? We've got to be more clinical. We've got to make these chances count. We could have come away from that, 2, maybe 3-1 up, and then we ended up 2-1 down. It's just not good. So really, moving forward, there are some optimistic areas, but tonight didn't give you massive amounts of confidence, did it? It was a hit and miss affair, mainly miss. And the hit bits really didn't make the mark in large areas. We deserve better than that. We really deserve better than that, and we've got to be able to kill games off effectively to make the mark and to get the 3 points. Because tonight we had the chance of tucking ourselves up behind the playoffs and starting the challenge into the new year. Tonight was a bit of a setback. So onwards to Barnsley on Sunday and up the Blades. Pommpey, take care.